And green. Right. Okay. I think we should really talk about the principle of a project first before we talk about principle of management. Okay. Yeah, this is a set of notes that you'll be getting from me today. Okay. So basically, what we need to do is to, you know, now to this week, let's take it a bit easy. We will go and do a little bit of revision. Okay. So how much do you guys understand about project management? Any one of you want to try to answer this?
Not much.
Not much. Okay. Yes. Do you guys realize that in your job in the future, now that you've gone to LI, okay, now that you've gone to do LI, so you know that every time that you go to work, okay, you go to office, you're actually doing a project, okay? So you may be doing something in this project, you may be doing something in this project, and you may be doing something else in that project, you know, or like some of the LI people that I've seen, they actually did a whole project, like from A to Z or from A to M, because the LI time finished, you know, so they need to come back. So, or they started from C to F, for example, during that time. So you can see that, you know, do you hear a lot of the word project coming up in your speech, in your language, in engineering, in civil engineering, all the time, correct or not? Yeah. Any feedback from people here, like on the word project? Okay. So do you hear a lot of word project, or you never hear the word project before?
I hear a lot of it.
Yeah, you hear a lot of it, yes. So others also, I believe you should hear a lot of it. So actually, project is what we as engineers, as civil engineers, do day in, day out, day in, day out. Our life will revolve around project, okay? And project is really a temporary endeavors, okay? Temporary endeavors mean that it's an effort. It's something that you do, it's a job that you do temporarily. Why temporarily? Because the interesting thing about a project is it has a definite beginning, it has a definite ending. Okay? Meaning that when you embark onto a project, when the project starts, you know, there will be, you know, things like IDP now, you need to get your project. So let's say you got a project brief from your company or your engineers or from your manager, from your bosses. Okay, this is the project that you'll be in charge of. Okay, so it doesn't matter which point in time that you start. Sometimes you are in charge of the construction, but in the construction bit, you are doing that particular project as well. Sometimes some of you are actually being put in the project beginning, like the really early part of the project, dealing with planning. Okay, dealing with planning, dealing with design. Okay, so that is also the beginning part of the project. So a project always have a time that it is being born, and there will be a time that it finished. Okay, there's no endless project. If there's an endless project, this project is a sick project. It's a sick job. Sick as in really suck it. Project suck it. You heard a lot of this in newspaper. Project suck it. Our government say that we have a lot of project suck it, meaning that they're pumping so much money, but the project never finished. In Sarawak, we have a lot of project suck it also. You know, there's a Penjara project that never finished. And then there is a few bridges, okay? And those from Cebu and Serike, I think you always hear about that. And then those from Lundut, you always hear about that particular bridge that never finished, yeah? So those are what we call sick project, because they have a beginning, but they never end. They never finish the job, and the end user never get the facilities. They never get to use the particular facilities or product that was being, so that's supposed to come out from it, okay? And every project is a unique thing. So it's one off, it's unique, okay? So it's finite, okay? Finite is so every time you go to do your work, you may be in charge of 3 projects. Every one of these projects will have a start, there will be ending, there will be closing, you know? Then after that, you hand over to the client, and if you're not in charge of operation and maintenance, you move on to the next project, okay? Then why do I say every project is unique? Because every ground is unique. Okay. So even if you build development project, okay, now you build phase one, okay, on this piece of land. Okay, you build 50 houses. Okay, and there are 30 semi-Ds. There will be 20 terrace houses. Okay, so that is the definition of that particular project on that particular piece of land. So you may have the same piece of land next door. Okay, and then after that you want to do phase two. Phase two is 10 terrace, 10 semi-D, or the 25 terrace, 25 semi-D. Okay, design can be different, can be the same, but the ground that you're building on is never the same one as the one that you are originally built on. You may say that it's next door, it should be similar, yes, but ground condition you never know. It's very unique. You cannot say that, just because of next door. I mean, I have project that is like here, right me, in front of me is good ground. Then 20 meters off the track is, down the road, I get some very, very bad rocky rocks down there. So I need to do a bit of blasting and all that. It's becoming a different thing. Okay. So even building one project, even the same ground condition can be very different from location to location. So we will say that every project is never repeated. Okay, it's always one time, one off. So you don't build spring so many times. You don't build summer so many times. Okay, the more not the actual seasons. Okay, so it will be one unique project. If you take the same design, you'll be building it on different location. Okay, if you take the whole thing down and rebuild spring, okay, it will be a rebuilding kind of project. You have different things that you need to handle. You have different things that you need to do. Even if the same house and burned down by a fire, you want to rebuild the same house with the same design, it's a different thing. Still, correct or not? Because now you need to worry about the existing tiling that is down there. You need to worry about the ground beam, the slab. How are you going to take it out? How are you going to take off the existing structure? How are you going to do renovation if necessary? So it's different, you see, it's a complete different endeavors. It may be the same location, same design, but the effort is different, you see. So that's why we call it unique. And project also is complex, It's not something that anybody can do. It's a complicated thing. It's a dynamic thing. Every project manager, every project engineer, you will always come into unexpected issues and problems. But of course, we need risk management. We want to talk about risk, get the things up, profile up first before you start the project. But there will always be something that unexpectedly, who can expect COVID in 2019 December? I was in Shanghai when I was flying back to Malaysia. And when I arrived in Malaysia, somebody says that there's COVID in China, so then I thought, oh, that is so far away, as if I care, but then you see the effect in March, how it affects the whole industry. So there are things that will be unexpected, because why? Because we're dealing with, project is not like in a vacuum kind of environment. Those vacuum, what do you mean by vacuum pack? If you vacuum pack, you put your food inside there. There's a special plastic bag. You suck up all the air, meaning that you keep it in a vacuum environment. There wouldn't be any attack of bacteria. There won't be any air inside there. The food will retain its original condition for as long as possible. Okay, we do project. We're not doing it in a vacuum. You're not going to press a button and there's a big bubble that comes out and cover your project. And then you do your project in that vacuum environment, not affected by weather, not affected by bacteria, not affected by people. And most importantly, people. There will be so many people involved. The project is multidisciplinary. If it's a building project, architect will be the lead. Architect will be the lead consultant. If it's a civil project, and civil engineers will be the lead consultant, and you'll be dealing with mechanical engineers, electrical, electronic engineer, electrical mostly, really electronics, electrical engineers. Then you'll be dealing with, sometimes if you platform project, you'll be dealing with chemical engineers, okay? And then if you're dealing with if you're building plants, factories, you'll be dealing a lot with process designers and all that sort of people, okay? Factories, you'll be dealing with QS, you'll be dealing with contractors, subcontractors, machine suppliers, material suppliers, so every project you have a lot of people involved, many disciplines involved. So in this discipline, they may not have the same people coming in to involve with the project. To site. So your supervisor bring you to site. So then you see your site supervisor day, and then you meet your client day. But then you go to another site, there's a different people, different client, different architect, different QS, different bosses, different site supervisors, different workers even. You see, so then when you go from site to site, you realize, you see that, hey, I need to talk differently. There are different people here. They're not the same people. So that's why the project is very unique. It's multidisciplinary, it's dynamic, it's complex, you see. So obviously, because we have a lot of money and time, and we have a lot of expectation involved, project is high risk. Whoever puts in the money for it, expect a return, okay? When they expect a return, okay, they will actually expect you to do a good job, okay? Expect the product to be good, that they can use it at the end of the day, okay? So obviously, if you don't fulfill that, your client is going to throw away millions of dollars. Like the prison project that we talked about, it was in the newspaper all the time. Politicians are involved, the government was involved, okay? Then government pumps in like what we call hundreds of millions of dollars, and then you don't get your facilities. Do you think that it's not high risk? Yeah, it is very high risk. Okay, now that you're doing IDP, you're going to pick a project to do. You're going to pick a piece of land. You imagine you yourself as a developer. That piece of land is not cheap, Picking land is not cheap. Okay, land everywhere is not good. Okay, so you as a developer, you are going to be buying that land, or you're going to be sharing in a mode of sharing the profit with the landowner. So they provide the land, you build. So yes, you don't pay the land price, but still you need to validate the land price, okay? If the land price is 1 point is 10,000. Now Samarahan price is 1.15,000, 10 to 15,000. So if your land is 1 acre, 1 acre of land, maximum you can build 10 houses. 1 acre is 100 points. 150,000 times by 100 points, land price alone is 1.5 million. Okay, if you divide by 10 houses, that you're going to arrange 10 houses inside there, maximum, that is the SPA requirement, 10 houses. That means the land price for each house is 150,000. So 150,000, okay, what is the selling price? You haven't built your civil facilities, your drain, your road, your water, your sewage. Then you haven't built your structure and all the architecture and interior, the roofing, everything. So add up your construction cost can easily be about 200 over 1,000. So then you have 150 plus 200,000. Your cost is 400,000. 400,000, 10 houses. You are putting in an investment of 4 million right then and there. Okay. And we're not talking about other things like authority. Some authority will need to charge some capital costs and contribution and all that. So we're talking about an investment of 4 to 5 million sitting there. So that kind of cash, and if you don't do a good job, the project manager don't do a good job, don't look after the project, the contractor did a lousy job, you cannot sell the houses and all that. Well, it's going to be a risk. Some of you say that, oh yeah, like you can sell the houses first upon SPA approval. You haven't built, and then you can do a scheduled payment. Like let's say I'm the house owner, I buy off plan. Off plan meaning that I haven't seen anything yet, they haven't built yet, but I buy first, I pay 5%. and after you do piling work, I pay 10%. Yes, that helps, you know. But you have to always be ready that in the beginning, nobody buy your thing at all, you know. What if there's 10 houses, seven are not sold yet, 8 are not sold yet, or all are not sold yet, or 5 are not sold yet. Money, you have to pump it up. You can't tell your contractors or you cannot tell your designers that, oh, can you only collect 5 houses punya fees? You design everything, it has gone for submission, everything is approved already, and you only build 5 because only 5 is being purchased. You can't do that, you see. So high risk is there. It's a risk. It's a very big risk. Government project is government risk. Government risk is people's risk, okay? It's you and I, we are taxpayer, okay? We pay tax, that's where the government get money to build roads, airport, houses, quarters, dams, you know, railways, electrical power plants, hydro dams, yeah? They build sewage treatment plant, they build water treatment plant, they build pipeline. Where you think the money comes from? The money doesn't get flowed off from a tree to the government's treasury office, okay? It comes from people, taxpayer. So at the end of the day, infrastructure projects are supported by taxpayer. Development project, private project is by businessmen, by private industry who invest in the project, okay? No money just come out from the ground. You know, if I can plant money, I will teach you how to plant money, okay? I don't need to teach you management, yeah? Just plant money, water it, and tomorrow the tree grows and you can just pluck money off it. How nice, but we can't, okay? So, yeah, this is the uniqueness of a project. So now you know why when you go to LI, everybody talks about project, you know, because that is the nature of your job, ladies and gentlemen, okay? You today have to be awake and tell me that, you know, oh, as a civil engineer, I am going to be working on project by project by project for the rest of your 40 years in the industry, okay? You are 22, okay? Going on, some of you are a bit older, 23, graduating this year, or no, next year. So you'll be 24 when you graduate, maximum lah, huh? The moment you walk out onto that from these universities, from this faculty, going into the job, you'll be embarking onto a project. You'll be called a project engineer, you'll be called a design engineer, you'll be called a clerk of work. It doesn't matter. It is project, okay? So that point in your life onwards, you will deal with project by project by project by project until you basically lost count of how much project you ever do in your lifetime. I mean, like, I don't know how much project I have done in all these years. I don't remember, honestly, the numbers. But I roughly know how many I do in a year. You know, like, this year I have done about 10, 5, 6, you know, roughly, okay? But we hardly keep track, okay? Unless it's all, I mean, I can go to my computer and check, but then, you know, if you ask me off my top of my head, because it's so much part of your life. Like, do you remember how much rice you eat in a day? You don't, right? Yeah. So, or do you remember how much food you eat last night or yesterday? Yeah. So this is like part of your life. So you don't really go and keep account on that. So that's why you embark onto projects. So I need you all to be very, very clear about this. This is very basic. At the end of the day, project is part of your life. It's part of your job. It's something that you do day in and day out until you retire. Say you retire 65, you will have 40 years of lifespan doing project, okay? So that is the foundation of this course, project, okay? Then, any questions, anybody? Anything you want to talk about or share, or you are, you know, not so sure, you know, like things that you heard in LI? Yeah, I mean, we're taking it bit by bit slowly, yeah. No question at all? Okay, if that's the case, you guys seem to be quite okay with that. So we will leave these notes as it is. Then I will move on to talk about project life cycle will come next week. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about management, and that is where you have learned this in your undergraduate studies. Okay, undergraduate. I'm always confused because I've got master's classes and I've got you guys, so I sometimes get a bit off my head, friend. Okay, so sorry. In your first year undergraduate, okay, I'm sure you've gone through what is management, what is the purpose of management, and all that. This is just basically a revision. Okay, so management. Management, you see that I'm here to do civil engineering. Why am I learning management? And I've already explained on Tuesday, it is your job to actually make sure the project is executed in the correct manner, not only technically, but many other aspects of it, such as scheduling, costing, and quality, and all that. Those are all part and parcel of what you need to manage. So you need to appreciate that, technically, yes, you have been taught a lot technically. You'll be getting a lot of experience technically. Yeah, but every project will need to be managed in a way. So that the concept of management, which people always associate with business and banking and anything, people always see the word management. They imagine people, nice ladies sitting in the office wearing suit, and then managers sitting around, like with their very nice hair, with their ties and all that. That is management. So, it's always sitting in the office, and you go like, I'm not going to be sitting in the office. I'm going to be out on the side. But why am I learning management? You see, management is actually a power. It's actually a subject area. It's actually a subject area that has a lot of functions, tools, and things that you can learn and do. Okay, and learn and do that you can actually apply that onto a project. Okay, and that particular idea, of management actually boils down to a few things. It actually makes sure that in every project you need to set an objective. So sometimes I always tell my daughter, since very young, you need to manage yourself. Okay. Like I tell you guys as well, you need to manage yourself. How do you manage yourself? The simple things is coming to universities. You don't have your parents with you. Some parents may be following you to your orientation, and then they may be going to your hostel to help you to set up and everything. But after that, they go home and you're on your own. So you need to manage yourself. So how do you manage yourself? You need to know that what is your aim and goal in universities here today and these 4 years. You want to get a degree, So management, by managing yourself, we actually means that we need to set goals, You come here, what is your goal? Okay, what is your goal? Can anybody tell me in these 4 years? I'm not talking about your life goal, okay? I'm talking about just your university's goal, okay? Anyone say you want to graduate with an award here? Some of you, your goals may be, I just want to pass everything, yeah? Some of you may say that I want to do well, yeah? Some of you may say I want to enjoy myself plus learn something plus get a degree. I want to be an all-rounded person. Yeah, that is your goal. Okay, that is your goal. So by the first step of managing yourself, you need to know what you want. Okay, if you don't know what you want, then we don't talk about managing yourself. Okay, that's why your life is in the mess. If you don't know what you want, yeah, right. Then how? Then you will need to have enough of resources. Okay. So coming to university, your lecturers are your resources. The lecturing facilities are your resources. Your parents' money is your resources. Your family support is your resources. Your friends, your teammates, your co-students are your resources. The library is your resources. Okay, so all these are your resources that is available, and you pay for it in a way. So you're here, you know what you want. These are all your resources. Then you know what you must do. I must attend my classes. I must do my assignment. I must get, pass. I must study for exam. Day in, day out, you should know what to do. So that is the method with the resources, the method. Okay, that is what we call organize. You're organizing your method, your facilities, and then you move towards that goal. Then you do it. When the assignment comes, you do it. You put yourself in groups with people that you trust and all that, and then you also speak to the lecturer, ask them about things. These are all execution. Okay. So management talks about planning, it talks about organizing, it talks about execution, and then it talks about monitoring. Okay. You talk about monitoring of your work. You talk about monitoring of your grades. You talk about monitoring of your schedule. You talk about monitoring of your monthly pocket money. Any one of you here who don't manage your pocket money at today, 14th of October, only left $50 to be used until the end of the month? That is called not managing yourself, correct? Not managing your pocket money. Yeah, you didn't split it out properly. This is the same thing. If you look at it in a smaller scale, these 4 years, getting this degree is a big project. It's a 4-year project. Most projects in the industry, averagely, it will last 1 to 2 years. Sometimes really huge project, multi-billion dollars project, it may last 3 to 4 years, 5 years, Cambodia, like that, many years, over a few years. Okay, so those are big projects. So you hear 4 years is a big project, actually. Yeah. So you can see the parallel between project and yourself and your work and management. Okay, so the purpose of management is about you have that, you want to attend, you want to achieve that clearly defined goal as efficiently as possible. So management tells you that you must plan, you must organize, staffing, organizing is the same thing. I mean, like, staffing is dealing with people. Okay. Can you guys give me a minute? My cats are tearing down my curtains. Let me hold on. I'm going to do some screaming and shouting. Okay, sorry, I'm back. Okay, from caning. Okay. Right. Okay, so here we will have actually all this, management activities. This is called management function. Functions of management, we call it. These are activities which managers do day in, day out. So if you actually manage a bank, okay, you do that as well. If you're a bank manager, you need to plan, you need to know who today is going to be at the counter, who today is going to do like foreign exchange, who today is going to have what KPI you have, what KPI you have, and how you organize your staff, and then the bank is going to run in the normal manner. And then at the end of the day, you will see the reports and check and all that. So those are the things that a bank manager will do, you know. A human resources manager do something like that as well. They will plan for their resources, plan for their staff, where the staff will be and all that. And then after that, they will place the staff, the work, you know, and then the staff will go ahead and do certain things, you know, and some of them may be in charge of leave, some of them may be in charge of cuti, you know, some cuti is leave, and then some of them may be in charge of payment, salary and all that. Those are human resources management. So then your staff will do their work, you know, and then you need to see the report, see the things are done or not, see is the thing are well done or not. It's a role of a manager. So as a project manager, okay, which I already mentioned, you have to be a project engineer first. You will always be a project engineer because you need to go for groundwork first, all the technical things you need to learn first as a project engineer. When working on site, you need to know how to record piling, you need to know how to check for concrete pouring, you need to know if the bars are being bent properly, if there's enough room, you need to do checking and all that. Those are all your work as a project engineer is there at maybe the execution bit of things, or maybe at the controlling bit of things, usually as a young engineers, okay? Then when these reports are being compiled, the project manager will go through them, or they will sometimes be on the site with you together as well. So they will be the one that will be doing the planning, the organizing, sending you to site to check for certain things that is organizing. And then you come back, you report, and then they will do controlling action. So you are doing monitoring and execution. And those engineers who are actually in the planning one, like maybe you go to State Planning Authority and work as an engineer, you go to JKR, a lot of your work are involved with planning. So you also will be doing more of the execution bit of things, you know, like check the drawings, do the design, or liaise with the consultant, you know, these sort of things. These are all more on the execution level, okay? So again, project manager is the whole thing. They will have to apply all these planning, organizing, you know, controlling, execution, monitoring, all these activities they need to do, and they need to guide all your resources, including yourself as a project engineer, towards finishing that project well and do it well and finish off in a good manner, as in fulfill the time, cost, quality. So you remember in your year one, we do talk about TCQ, time, cost, quality. Anybody still remember? The objectives of project management and objective of all project is to fulfill, deliver the project on time, do it within the cost, and do it within the quality requirements set, and deliver the project with the integrity that it should be accorded to the project. Yeah, so you can see that TCQ, time, cost, quality, is part of the objective. It's really it, you know, it's really them that really holds. So project management will actually, it's a goal of every project manager to fulfill that time, cost, quality. And we do speak about the balance between time, cost, quality. Sometimes you can fulfill time, but your cost is affected. If your cost is affected, it will affect time, it will affect quality. You know that triangle? If you shift any part of that triangle, the other part of the triangle will move as well, because they are part of a body, one body. Okay, so that is TCQ. Okay, so I remember I always give examples saying that, you know, the Sydney Opera House is a very beautiful, very massive, magnificent structure. Okay, and it is a landmark of Sydney. You know, everybody will talk about Australia. If you look at Australia, okay, I mean, like, if you put, supposed to be, let's say, if you have a world map that is made out of buildings, when we put Australia, we will put Sydney Opera House, full stop. Okay, if you put Malaysia, we'll put Twin Tower. Okay, so now if you put Singapore, you probably put the, Marina Sands, that casino thing, and then, so what is okay, again, give you more example. If you put China, we'll put Great Wall of China on it, am I right? Yeah. So, yeah, if you put US, you probably put Golden Gate Bridge. If you put UK, you probably put the Big Ben, So these are all landmark buildings. So if you talk about Australia, you put Sydney Opera House thing. The Sydney Opera House is a major project management failure. Okay, it took years to build. It went over time. It went over budget. It wasn't even good when listened to opera in the beginning. It had such a bad acoustic. Okay, so it was a huge project management disaster. Okay, but is that a problem for an engineer? Yes, it is a problem for an engineer. At that point in time, the project manager, the architect, the engineers, whoever is the project manager, had a huge headache. Okay, it was a difficult time. But as the year progresses, it becomes the landmark. Okay, that is something that you and I will never be able to expect. You may have project that is fulfilled on time, with good quality, with very good cost budget, everything all fulfilled, but people don't like it. And that is also, I wouldn't call it a failure in terms of management, but it may be a failure in terms of the project itself, as in, people just don't like it. Yeah. There are many projects like that, it was well done, it was well executed, it was fulfilled. It was a nice project, but when people look at it and say, oh my gosh, that looks like a pile of rubbish, So, but we never can judge what the end user comment will be, you see. As long as we fulfill the basic quality aspects that the building is supposed to function as it is, then it is a good project for a project manager. That is all you need to care about, honestly. What the next generation, what people say in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, what people say after you build it is a different story. I mean, it's a completely different thing that you don't need to worry about unless you are an architect. Okay, architect always want to do landmark design, but we as engineers, we care about functionality, we care about performance, we care about budget, we care about schedules. Okay, so this is what we care about. So time, cost, quality is something that civil engineers, project manager will hold on tightly to. And then in order to do that, you need to apply the functions of management. Okay, these are the activities, these are the functions, these are the tools that you need to do to direct your energy meaning your resources and your technique and your technology and your methodology towards fulfillment of that goal. So that is what we call management. So project management is applying this management function that direct the energy, resources, tools, technology, all that towards a specific goal of time, cost, quality. You apply that onto a project, you are effectively marrying project with management, and it becomes a couple, it becomes a superpower couple that is completely undetachable, and that will be so powerful that you will never live without it as an engineer. Okay, so that is what we call project management. Okay, so management, of course, here the principle of problem solving. This is this is the things that we do as engineers. I say engineers are very boring people. We always like to collect data. Your frame of mind should always be, okay, I got a problem, collect data, analyze the data, refer to past experience, come up with a method, hypothesis, formulate a method, and then you apply that and see if you can make you apply that, make a decision, apply that, and do monitoring and do improvement. Okay. So what I want to say is, a bad project manager, you understand now the intermarriage between a project, the idea of a project, applying management, okay, into a project, the functions of management into a project. You're marrying project and management, so you get project management, and this is what we are that we have been talking about, that we want to talk about. I think it's always for problem solving. You know, as a project management tools, there's two important principles that you must be able to hold on to. You will never be a project manager if you can't do this. If you can't make decisions. You know how important it is to make decisions? Yeah. Anyone has problem making decisions? Anyone has, like, you know, if you want to have lunch, you have to think for 1 hour what to eat. Anyone else have problems that you want to buy a pair of shoes? You have to choose 3 months, and after you buy, you still have to send it back and say that you don't like it. And then you regret. Yeah. So that is decision making. So as a project manager, if you have that kind of attitude, you will never be able to elevate to a project manager. Then you're better off just be a design engineer, sitting in a design office doing yes is a yes, no is a no design. Okay. Don't go and become a project manager. Because as a project manager, decision making is one of the most important tools that you have to be able to get it. You have to be so stern. You have to be so decisive. On site, many things are instant decision. You do not want to wait until next week to make a decision. You cannot wait until 24 hours to make a decision. And you need to pay a price for every decision that you make, and you must be prepared to pay the price. So many people don't dare. I don't dare to make decisions because I need to pay the price. Until I cannot then mark. That is why a lot of government agencies, they like to have committee. If you work for JKR, you know, in the old days, JKR director are so good. They are so important people. They make decisions. That every meeting they must have decision. Now look at where JKR are. Okay, everything is committee. We must have a committee for this, committee for that, and then end up decisions are always delayed. That's why we get a very inefficient public sector. Don't say I say this, but in fact, JKR is already one of the best public sector in the state, honestly speaking. Okay, and yet they are marked with this sort of problem. Okay, if we talk about other departments, it's even worse. Okay, so that is because of that word decision making. That manager does not make decision. They leave it to a group of people to make decision. Then nak meeting, nak bawa semua orang masuk meeting, tak cukup orang tidak dapat meeting, you know, everything is meeting. Okay? So we cannot do that. As a project engineer, as an engineer, we should not do that. You should be able to go through decision making, get your data in your head, and then clarify, analyze those data, and make decisions within hours, within minutes, you know, of it happening. And that is a good project manager. That is whereby you are going to be different from other project managers because you make decisions, you dare to make decisions, and you dare to take responsibility for that decision. Of course, I'm not telling you to butak, wear a helmet and make a decision and ram into the wall and commit suicide kind of thing. No, it's not like that. We must make logical, reasonable, educated decision. Okay, what is educated decision? Educated decision is you learn from uni. You know, when you look at drawings, you know something works, something don't work. You look at filing files, you look at the numbers, you know something breaks, something don't break. You know, when you look at schedule, you know delay or not delay. You look at budget, you know that it's actually problematic or not problematic. You go to site, you know who is working, who is not working. These sort of things you learn, okay? It's an educated decision that you learn from 4 years university. Going into work, you learn from experience 4, 5 years, okay? Going in, and then you move on to the ladder and become a project manager 10 years, 20 years down the track. That is learn, educated decision, okay? So these are the things that we are looking at. And in decision making, we like to look at what we call a system thinking. that you need to not only look at the problem and find a method, you need to look at the surrounding of the problem, whether it involves other people, whether it involves other elements like culture, environmental, legal, and all that. And then when you make a decision, it doesn't solve one thing and create another problem for another thing. This is what we call system thinking. You need to be able to see a big picture of relationship between elements with your problems. Okay. Up until now, does anyone have any question? I mean, I feel like I'm talking to yourself. I don't even know whether you can hear me or not. So anything that you want to talk about, like I said, decision making, problem solving is the main job. At the end of the day, that is where the value of a project manager is. Anybody can come out and be a project manager if you know technical, if you know management, you study that. You can go and even study an MBA, you can have a PhD, you can study MBA, you combine the two, you are so good technically, you are so good managerially. But if you have problems making decision and doing problem solving, and remember yesterday, win-win situation, this alternative method system thinking, if you want to make somebody lost so that you can win, or somebody win, then somebody lost, then you are not going to be qualified to be a manager, project manager. It is supposed to be an all-rounder thing. Okay, that's why you get high pay. There's a reason why you get high pay. Because your problem solving has to be all-rounded. Your decision making have to be daring. You have to be able to say that I will take the responsibility. I will wipe all the ass if I need to wipe ass. Okay, that is the kind of attitude that makes you get paid 5 times more, 3 times more than just a project engineer. Yeah. Okay, so I think no questions. Okay. Okay. Right. So then we talk about, why engineers should be managers, because like I say, there is a purpose here. Okay, there is different purpose, different design. I mean, like there's a lot of things that our design are very purpose specific, meaning that if you do a structure, then it is a structural design, so therefore you need an engineers to be able to manage and handle all these things, you see. So if let's say we're doing civil works, these are very, very specific work that needs to be done, designs and all that, and construction that only civil engineer themselves can manage, okay? And also, as engineers, you know about the design, the numbers, the character of the buildings, and the behavior of the structures and all that. So you cannot leave it to other people to do management of a civil engineering project if they are not engineers. And because we are trained technically in that areas, and then we are supposed to be creative, we are supposed to be practical with our practical ability, because we are people who have scientific knowledge, management skills. So that's why you learn management, you learn project management, okay? Okay, so these are all things that you can just read yourself, that's fine, okay? So then our management control cycle, this is actually what we call a management control cycle. A lot of people like to get it confused with the project life cycle, okay? So you first establish your plan. So in management, if you do project management, what you do is you will establish a project plan. and then you will organize your resources, data, and information, and then followed by the implementing plan, and then followed by controlling, monitoring first, because monitoring is more of we have explanation down here. So monitoring is more of like how the nurse actually monitor your temperature. Like they come in every few hours, they will take your temperature, that is monitoring. They will make sure that you eat your medicine, that is monitoring. But at the end of the day, those data, you see the doctor come in, they will look at the bed, at the end of the bed, and then there's a card there, then they will open the card and check and all that. And then they will tell you what to do next, maybe change the medicine or go for operation or is stable, not stable. So the doctors do controlling and monitoring are done by the nurses. So in this case, in our case, in project management, normally monitoring is done by project engineer, controlling will be done by project manager. Okay, they will administer remedial actions if necessary. Okay? If not, then we will go circle by circle, we do corrective actions, and then we will change our plan and then go round and round and round. So this is what we call management control cycle. In exam, a lot of times when I come up with question of project life cycle, people like to answer management control cycle and they don't get that. They don't get it. When sometimes I put in a question of management control cycle, why do you do management control? How do you do management control cycle for a project? People answer project life cycle. So they get 0 marks because it's a completely different thing. Okay. I mentioned this all my students at the beginning of semester, and there will be about 10% of students who will insist of answering this question wrong because they don't read management control cycle. Yeah. Okay. So these are some of the notes here that talks about that management control cycle. So you do your definition, you formulate your policy, you do your detailings of your procedures and all that. That is what you do when you establish the management plan. So that is about definitions, about goals, about the problem, understand the problem, understand your objective. Your problem is traffic jam. You need to widen the road. How many lanes? That is your aim and objective. It must be realistic. Okay. Then you organize your resources. So you ask your people to do design, then you organize your material, your resources, your design, your money, your machineries, your contractors, everything coming in, and then they will start to do design, followed by tender, followed by, construction and all that. And then finally, with all these resources available going in the right direction, you're actually doing the job, which is the implementing of the plan. This is the part that you need to focus, you need to guide, you need to monitor, you need to motivate, you need to communicate, you have meetings, you need to follow up. A lot of things to do here, accountability, making decision, problem solving. All these are under implementation. Okay, these are the activities that you do under implementing. These are the activities that you do under organization of your resources. Okay. And then after that, you will, where's my controlling? Oh, okay. It's probably another set of notes. So then you will have controlling, monitoring, which I explained there's a difference between monitoring and controlling. Okay. So this is a refresher of what is project management and time, cost, quality. So once you get ready, once you understand what is management, you intermarriage it with it, and then you want to achieve some goals, and that goal is time, cost, quality. You are basically setting the foundation for project management. Okay. So that's all I have for today. Okay. Any questions? Anything you want to ask? Okay. What's the difference between project officer and project manager? project officers are just, if you talk about officer, it's just a title. If it's an engineer, then it's a project engineer. Project officer is just somebody in charge for that particular project. It usually is the engineer, project engineer, who is a project officer. Okay, unless that project officer is not an engineer, then they have no choice but call him or her an officer. Sometimes, like the clerk in the office, they are called project coordinator because they actually do a lot of paperwork for the project, so we call them project coordinator. Okay, these are just titles. They're not supposed to be the same person unless the project is so small. So project manager that do everything from A to Z, basically, they can be called they're actually doing the job of a project officer or project engineer too sometimes, you know. Oh, divisional engineers are the engineers in JKR that actually in charge of the whole division. Division means that if let's say it's a carpet division, beton division, and all that engineers are the ones that look after all the project in that particular division. Resident engineers are the ones that actually are on site one. RE are the site usually appointed by the consultant office. They are the ones that look after the construction of the project. So in every consultant firm, there will be engineers who do the design, and then there will be a budget that send an engineer to look after that design. They will check how the design are being built on site. These resident engineers are usually belonging to the consultant, but JKR used to have a resident engineer, meaning that in that division, there is a permanently post engineer there that look after, because divisional engineering is quite a big division. So let's say in that division, there may be a few JKRs, right? Let's say division in MIRI, for example, is a DE, we call it divisional engineer, okay? So he is quite high post actually. But then in MIRI, let's say in a smaller office like Baram or in I can't remember, in Limbang maybe, yeah, they will have a resident engineer there, yeah. So that is how they use the resident engineer title. In JKR, there will be divisional engineer and resident engineer. Resident engineer are the engineer in charge of the smaller office under the division, yeah. But if you talk about normal site environment, like RE, resident engineer, that one is the one that is from the consultant office that is being sent to site to look after the design. Then he will work very closely with the clerk of works, which also belong to the consultant office. And then they will actually work together with the contractors engineers. Are you clear, Diong Xios?
Yes, Doctor, clear.
Is the project complete after defect liability period? Actually, the project is practically completed upon completion, meaning that it can be used already. The full completion will be after defect liability period because all the contractors, all the engineers will only be totally discharged of their duty after the defect liability period. There's no more legal duty after defect liability period. But if let's say completion as in the job is completed, hand over to the client, that is what we call a practical completion. All right, huh? That's all, huh? Okay, so you can continue asking questions. I can go to the QR code to actually share the QR code first. Okay. Group 1, QR. And next one, hold on. The group 1 people, hold on. Okay, group 2. Any more from group 2? Yeah, go to group 3 now. Group 3.
Morning, Dr. Ting.
Yes.
Can you give a very brief explanation on how the tendering process work? I'm still not very sure.
Tendering process, we will talk about it in week 12, 13.
Oh, I see.
So there's a lot of
Okay.
things to talk about in tendering. I cannot finish talking about it with you just like in a few minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's part of the subject. It's part of the subject in procurement management. If you want
I
to
see.
read up more, you can read up open tender, closed tender, pre-qualification tender. These are all different type of tendering, and they all have the different procedures.
Okay.
So you can read under procurement management tendering procedures. You can read open, selective tendering, and also selective and closed is about the same. And then pre-qualification tender. So these are the 3 different types of tendering methods. And of
Quite a
course,
lot.
negotiation proposal and all that, that is a different type of method to actually quote for the project. Yeah.
Does this
Um,
cause um uh, like the marks up the type of contract as well?
type of contract, yes. Type of as in what? As in
Mm.
lump sum contract, BQ contract. This
No, it's like turnkey contract.
turnkey contract is part of procurement management, yes.
I see, I see.
Traditional general contracting, that is the basic, followed by
Mm.
turnkey design and build. These are procurement method. And then we have different type of contract, which is BQ contract, lump sum contract, cost plus contract. Those are under contract type. And then tendering, we've got open tender, selective tendering. Those are actually under tendering. So these are all under the subject of procurement. If you look at the schedule, it will be in week 12 onwards.
Okay.
Some of it will be covered in construction management around week 11. So 11, 12 onwards, we will have this already. Yeah. Okay, so group one, anyone else? No. Okay, don't do the manual one first. Not yet. So anyone else who haven't shoot the thing can shoot now. Okay. Unimas, you are okay. Then group two, anyone else? Group three, anyone else? Okay. Then I will do anyone in group three that needs manual. Can you read up your name? Okay, no. I think here it's all already in group attendance. Anyone in group one that needs manual attendance?
Doctor,
Yeah. Yes. Can you say your name or your student number?
can I do manual attendance for Nurul
Yes.
Intan Nadia?
65143.
65143.
All right, done. Group two, anyone who needs manual attendance?
Doctor,
Yes.
65084.
This was for Isa, huh?
Uh-uh.
Okay, done.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right, that's all from us today. Okay, have a good day, everybody.
Hello, good morning, doctor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have one question, doctor. Sorry for asking.
Problem.
My question is, what's the difference between the site engineer and QA and QC engineer? Are they the same, doctor, or maybe a bit different? Site engineer and
QA, QC people, for very big project, they have very specific QA, QC people, especially if dealing with very specialized, specialized material or specialized technique. Then that project will employ a separate QA, QC engineer. But most QA, QC, general QA, QCs are done by the project engineer themselves on site or the project manager on site. Yeah.
how about the site engineer? They are just monitor the progress of the project lah on site kah, doctor?
Site engineer is also site engineer. It's the same thing. They are just title.
Oh,
So
Okay.
site engineers, they monitor QA QC if the project is just a normal project, and then we normally, unless it's really big and you're dealing with many specialties material and specialties technique, then we will have specific QA QC engineers who come in, who are employed to look after the QA QC job part of it. Yeah.
Oh,
Site
clear,
engineer,
doctor.
they do monitoring. QA QC, they do like quality plan. They will do the monitoring of the quality, but they won't look after the other aspects of the job.
Oh, okay.
So
Understand,
it's
doctor.
done completely by the site engineer, or if there's a big budget, big thing on site, if it's a big project, then we have a QA QC officer.
So, doctor, usually the QC is for the testing, right, doctor? Like cube test,
Everything, like
everything.
everything. Yeah, it doesn't have to be fitness. It can be like welding, joining, everything. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Usually it's for the QA/QC are usually for very specialized material like steel, like steel, a lot of these things that you don't commonly see. Like normally, if the project is only like concreting, bar bending, that kind of thing, usually they don't employ a QA/QC officer. It will just be done by the site engineer together at the same time.
Oh, I see.
Some projects, because it's very big, they involve a lot of people, hundreds of people, so they have a specific occupational health and safety engineer. So not all projects have OSHA engineers, not all projects have QA/QC engineers. It is only
Oh,
some projects they employ QA/QC engineers, OSHA engineers.
oh. Okay, doctor. Understand, doctor.
If it's the project sizes are like 10 million and all that, maybe you start to see QA/QC officer. If anything less than that, then normally you only see like 5 million and below. Normally they will be site engineers who look after everything.
Okay, understand, doctor. Thank you so much for the clarifying it.
No problem.
Okay, have a nice day, doctor.
Yeah, you too. Bye bye.